Hello, my name is Jonathan Schoenthal. I am born and raised in the United States, in Chicago, Illinois. In 2007, December 2007, I moved to Costa Rica officially, and I married my wife here in February 1st, 2008. So I moved here, and then I married here. My wife is Costa Rican. And before I got married, before I moved here, I had visited Costa Rica about 6 other times. My first trip was in May 2005 to learn Spanish. And I'm still learning Spanish. Because every day I learn new phrases, new idioms. So it's been quite an interesting experience. And considering that I'm from another country living in Costa Rica, and I am married to a Costa Rican, I have had the opportunity to interact with the culture in a way that tourists might not have, or somebody who only has studied a country from books or read literature. Something that struck me as being really different than what I'm used to is some obvious physical things, such as the garbage disposal.
Why is that different?
Because, at least from where I'm from Chicago, we use garbage cans. And usually they're either made of plastic, or in the past they were metal. And we put all the garbage bags in the cans, and we have a lid, and so there'd be really no garbage in the street. And when it's time for somebody to pick up the garbage, then if the garbage can was not near the alley, then we would bring the garbage can out to the alley. And something we don't have in Costa Rica are alleys. We have the main streets in Costa Rica, and usually the back of the houses, on the other side there's just another house. But
could you clarify what an alley is?
An alley is like a little street, but it's in the back of the house. And if you think of downtown Heredia, downtown Alajuela, downtown San Jose, the streets are north, south, and east and west. And the city blocks are like rectangles, like this. Well, in the United States, the majority of cities, it's the same thing. The streets form squares. And the block, we call it a city block, or just a block, is divided into 2 parts. This is the houses, let's say the houses run this way, north and south. And so the block is like this. Here's north, here's south. And all the streets, or all the houses, are facing the streets. So we have the houses here, which are facing the street, and the houses here facing the street. In the back of the houses, dividing the block, we have a little alley. We call it an alley. It's a narrow street, which only the people who live in this block will drive it. So it's like a private street to access your garage, because our garages normally do not have access to the front of the house, to the street. The garages are in the back. And so you drive your car down the street, and when you get to your block, you turn into the alley. When you have your garage, then you park in the garage.
Because you're talking about garbage and all that, do you have like recycling programs? Is different? Is it different the way you or people, treat the garbage there? Do you separate garbage or
now we do, and it also depends on the community. Because where my parents are from is from a middle class suburb. I did not actually live downtown Chicago, I lived in what's called a suburb. Like here's Chicago, and all around it are little separate cities. These are suburbs. And I lived actually next door to the actual city, Chicago. And so in the suburb, I lived in a suburb called Oak Park. And the suburb is middle class and upper middle class. And it's very artsy. And so we have been able to afford and have a little more consciousness about recycling. In other areas, in other suburbs, in other parts of Chicago, especially the poor areas, there's not much recycling. But over the years, not just Chicago, but all of the United States in general has become very health conscious and environmental friendly. So we have been recycling for quite some time now.
Do you see that down here?
I'm beginning, or I have seen that there's more recycling and more recycling going on in Costa Rica. I think in large part that a lot of the American companies are here and they carry this social responsibility of taking care of the environment. In others, it's just the United States, among some other countries, has a strong influence in the world. And there's a very consciousness, a green consciousness about the environment, and this has come to Costa Rica. The seed has been planted, and now we're beginning to see more and more of the plant, more and more of the recycling, more and more of this consciousness.
Any final message for Costa Rican students in terms of recycling and learning or talking to tourists or people from other countries?
Well, this is something that's a concern for me and a lot of people, is that Costa Rica is your home. The majority of the jobs and the money is coming from the tourism industry. So please take care of your environment and spread the word. If you have a bottle, plastic bottle or glass bottle, and instead of driving, and if you're in a car, instead of throwing it out the window, or if you're walking, instead of just dropping it where you are, just recycle it. Because in 5, 10, 15 years, you know, with all the pollution, contamination, including littering and garbage, will affect the tourism, and it will destroy this beautiful country. So please recycle and be a little more conscious of the environment and be careful of pollution.